Okay, you've seen how get from database and render is called at the bottom of all of these routines, browse picks, friends picks, my picks, and you'll see also that we use it to do the first page. But let's now focus on this routine, get from database and render, and see what happens inside it. Remember, these two routines, get from database and render and get from database brief, are the only routines that are directly retrieving data from the database. There are some other calls to the database that are used for adding picks and so forth, or removing picks, but these are the only ones that are retrieving data, and they need to be formatting the results and doing the pagination. So let's look inside get from database and render. Remember, there are three parameters: the which select, and the params array, and the optional list parameter. Now, the structure of this is the same as the basic structure of the individual files, browse picks and so forth, except the first part is missing, because this is a function that is called from one of the other ones, from browse picks or friends picks. So the first section that we have in those files, which is the standard Facebook includes, that section doesn't apply here because we've already issued those calls. But the second section is the same sort of thing we had in each of these files. We are taking a params array and decoding it. We're checking to see if something is set. If it exists, we take that value in and put it in a local variable. Otherwise, we put it to a default value. So we're doing all of this decoding here of the parameters that are coming into get from database and render. And now I'll give you a high-level overview of what's going to happen in this function, and then we'll come back and look at the details. We are going to, you can see I'll scroll up here just a little bit. This is the end of decoding those parameters that are coming in. And we are setting a string, formatted results, to be an empty string. And that's what we're going to wind up returning. At the bottom of this code, we are going to do some manipulations of formatted results in the paginate routine, and we're going to take that, paginate it, and send formatted results back as the result of this function. So the first thing that we do after setting the default values and decoding the parameters is set formatted results to be an empty string. Now we get to work. And what we're going to do is to connect to the database with my connection, and then we switch on the first parameter, which select, which controls what it is we are going to be doing in here. And if the value is mine, we've been called from my picks. If the value is friends, we've been called from friends picks. Then we have some additional cases that we can call with. We have a case of 1. And what that selection says is I want to get a single pick's data. So I'm going to have the ID of the pick. Then I also may have popular. On the front page, the index page, we have the most popular pick at the moment that is selected by default to be shown on the first page. And that is done by passing in the switch value popular. And I also can pass in, you'll see, a number so I can see the nth most popular items. So I can do mine, friends, 1, popular, and the default, which is the standard processing, is the normal call to get from database and render. And what I'm going to do after I've finished with the processing, then I execute the query. I have a default value, no data available. If we come down here and there is nothing, we really shouldn't be getting here. And then I call the paginate routine to take the results that I came from browse results. These are results that are not yet formatted. They're passed in here, and formatted results is the result of the paginate routine, and that is what is returned from get from database and render. Now let's take a look inside the routines of get from database and render.